Makashifa, a witch, a sorcerer, an observer of the times, one who passes through the fire.
Coffee, black. Nice pint.
I'm sorry, what?
Nice pint.
Oh, thanks.
So, what are you reading?
Something boring about war for history class?
One who practices divination, an enchanter, one who has a familiar spirit, one who reads the stars, a poisoner, a summoner, a deceiver. Whatever they were referring to, it's been lost in the millennia, except for a desire in a very small minority to strike at them. So what I can't currently figure out is, who is this very small minority? Are we looking at religious fanatics? Political fanatics? We've got Wiccans and witches, and wizards and pagans and mages, and even goths and kids who play Dungeons and Dragons, and people who listen to The Cure and watch The Crow, and even some lingering fans of The Lost Boys. And let's not even start on Twilight. But are they poisoners and summoners? Do they mean magic meant to harm, or magic meant to help? Or magic just for magic's sake? Or all magic? Or no true magic at all? Is Rose McKinney someone that needs to be wiped off the face of the earth? Is she someone never to be tolerated? Is my apprentice? Am I?
Harry, instead of copying this, I could.
No.
But I'm really good at research. If you just let me.
No.
Harry, I'm supposed to be helping you.
Apprentices aren't sidekicks, Grasshopper. You're not Robin to my Batman. You're more like Luke to my Yoda.
What? I am not Luke. Luke is whiny.
My point.
Alright, fine. It's not like I'm actually aware of the situation. I have a friend at a party near campus last night whose boyfriend was talking about it and saying... it wasn't like it was in my party and I wasn't drinking and it wasn't my boyfriend. I've not broken any of the rules that you have.
You said someone was talking about this at a party last night near the college campus. And how do you know what this is?
I may have looked at your notes while you were upstairs taking Mouse for a walk.
You may have looked. Molly, this is not a game. I work with the real police. Real people could die, and you could really
be one of them if you don't start doing what I say when I say. I know! You've told me. But why am I learning all this stuff if I'm not supposed to be helping people?
First, you have to learn to use it without blowing up half my lab.
That was not my fault!
Malls, I know you want to help. The best way you can help right now is by doing exactly what I say and nothing more. Both our lives depend on it, kiddo.
I'm not going to do anything that will bring the almighty White Council of Wizards to execute us. I just want to help you research these incidents.
Incidents, plural? Okay, start talking.
Fine. Okay. You're researching the attempted suicide last week of the woman who jumped off the Garfield overpass onto I-90. And you're reading a Hebrew and Greek interlinear Bible. which I did not even know that you owned a Bible. Of any kind.
They call us wizards because we're wise. You don't get wise by not knowing what's in books, especially big books that are ancient and full of magic.
And yet you won't go to Mass with my
That's because I'm wise.
dad. Anyway, the guy at the party was talking about a girl from the University of Chicago who tried to drown herself in the lake 2 nights ago. Luckily, some guy was out on his boat really late and saw her and dragged her out of the water. Well, this girl, Wendy, goes to a study group once a month at Bach Ordered Books. It's called Theories of Ceremonial Magic, and it's led by Professor McKinney, the woman who jumped Sunday night. But there's all these rumors going around that she's either found religion, or she's regretting never having it, or some sort of version of the same story. Even talking to the EMTs about it. So she's walking home, and it suddenly spirals out of control, and she jumps. Well, Wendy doesn't know about any of that. Wendy is not the religious type either, and neither is her family. And she's never gotten any kind of guilt or anything about being Wiccan. So all of this comes out of nowhere. So Cassie says that Wendy's boyfriend, who's on the wrestling team with Jim, says that he found a note in Wendy's dorm that said she was feeling all guilty and full of sin and, just all this weird stuff out of nowhere. And all this happens 2 nights after their, circle at the campus park.
Ostara. The spring equinox. I'm not sure I followed all the he said, she said, but that's a lot of degrees of coincidence and hearsay, Grasshopper.
Harry, I really think these two are connected.
Stars and stones, Molly. Do you have any idea how often magic practitioners hear it from well-meaning folks? It's hardly evidence of some conspiracy when 2 people decide they're tired of living in fear.
Yeah, but not everybody in the group is magically talented yet. I mean, not everybody that's done any tricks has even been pestered. How would the bad guys know who to go after?
It doesn't work like that. You can't just train up some magic out of nothing. Either you've got it, or you don't. If you don't have a parent with magic, you'll never have it.
Well, that's not always true. I mean, look at me. Neither of my parents have any magical talent. Here I am.
Yeah, look at you. But you're the anomaly, Grasshopper, not the norm. This thing's probably just a coincidence.
If you really believe that, boss, you wouldn't be reading the Old Testament and original Hebrew right now.
Okay. I'm looking for motive.
So you do think they're connected?
I'm chasing shadows right now. I mean, Rose McKinney wasn't just a professor with unique interests. She's on the radar. She might not have enough magic to sort out her cell phone regularly, but she's got talent. And I kind of feel like local small talent is my responsibility. I've got Murphy talking with Father Fordhill just to make sure we've got that angle covered.
What did she find out?
Haven't heard back yet. It's probably nothing. I gotta check anyway. That's my job. However, there is also the connection at Bach Ordered Books. It's a lead. With this many connections, it's less likely that it's just coincidence. It's something to go on. Nice catch, Bess.
Really?
Really. But this doesn't mean you have permission to go through my work to try and find ways to help. If you were to... I'll be right back. Don't touch my Bible.
Filing that under things I never thought I'd hear Harry Dresden say.
Yeah.
You owe me dinner and beer at Max.
You must have found something good, Lieutenant.
I haven't found a damn thing. This one's as vanilla as it gets, and it's not even on the books here. I'm off duty now, and not gathering any goodwill by wasting time. And it's Sergeant now, remember?
Yeah, sorry, Murph. Habit.
I spent my day off talking to what felt like half the diocese.
Yeah? Come up with anything? Anybody making rounds at local magic study groups?
Priests don't do that, Harry. So I talked to Ms. McKinney at Cook County again.
How is she?
She'll make it. She's a broken leg, a broken wrist. Her psyche valve is sterling. She had no history of mental illness, no history of suicide, no traumatic incidents that she could recall, and no idea why she decided to jump. Her toxicology was clean. She doesn't remember talking to anyone, and she doesn't remember anyone saying anything.
That's an awful lot it doesn't remember. Did she seem like somebody had been messing around in her head? You know, like you felt after the nightmare?
Nothing like that. Look, I'm chalking this up to a break.
A mental break? Some kind of weird sudden episode?
You got a better idea?
Maybe. I gotta run something down first.
Dresden.
Don't cut me out.
I'm not, Karen, I promise. But I don't want you wasting any more time on a simple nervous breakdown. If it turns into something more, I'll call.
You better. It's your ass.
Fear first, then ass.
Harry! You wish.
Private investigation involves a lot of walking for usually very little finding. A lot of walking, especially if you drive a car that doesn't always start. And a lot of pestering victims who have already answered all of your questions to police, EMTs, doctors, psychiatrists, and really don't want to relive their trauma for you.
That would promptly get me fired. You're supposed to have a visitor's badge to be on this floor.
Fired? You didn't even see me until I was on my way out.
That'd be the problem. I wasn't at my station.
Oh, what a terrible nurse you are. Answering blood pressure alerts instead of being a hall monitor.
Excuse me. Room 426 is.
I'm sorry. Visiting hours ended 5 minutes ago. I'm afraid you're going to have to come back. Of course. Yes, it's down this hallway to the left.
Thank you.
Is there a reason you're hiding from a police investigator?
On our Facebook pages, it says it's complicated. It's really complicated.
Of course, yes.
Thank you.
Do not fail me again.
That's it, Sorson. I'm tired of Laura having me tailed everywhere. So you go back to the manor and you tell them I'm a big boy and I'm doing just fine without Daddy's money.
I'm not Laura's thrall anymore. She gave me to Madrigal. I'm not tailing you. I'm just as surprised to see you here as you are to see me. Unless, of course, Laura has you tailing me.
Yes, because we all know how deeply my sister trusts me and how often she calls me to help with super secret Wraith family business.
Well, if you're so in disfavor, what the hell are you doing here?
Visiting a sick friend, obviously. If you're Magical's thrall, what the hell are you doing?
Visiting a sick friend, obviously.
I didn't know you were Magical's type.
Yeah, well, some wraiths know the value of multiple thralls with multiple talents.
How very House Malvora.
At least Malvora diversifies, rather than obsessing over a single doe like she was the last fawn on Earth.
Mention Justine again, and he'll be short-staffed too. Get off me, man!
Some client interviews leave you wishing they'd been angry or thought you were stupid. Rose McKinney cried, which made me feel like an insensitive jerk. They weren't the tears of an emotionally fragile woman prone to suicidal thoughts. They were the tears of an accomplished, strong woman who watched the front page of a newspaper show the world a picture of herself she didn't recognize. It was never anything like the reality of the life she built, and saw her own powerlessness to heal the impression. Rose McKinney is a brilliant, accomplished historian working on her doctoral thesis and teaching at the university. An independent, confident woman who followed no religion, studied ceremonial magic as far back as King Solomon. The woman she saw in the newspaper was an unbalanced cultist who got caught up in something crazy that threw her over the edge. Having had my own personal dust-ups on the Larry Fowler show, I could somewhat sympathize. She thinks she remembers a new student in her class that night, a man with a lot of questions for her. Details beyond that she couldn't remember, but I gave her my number. She didn't seem to know whether to trust me or to think I was nuts. I get that a lot.
Bob, wake up.
I ain't your bitch!
I don't care. Wake up.
I was happy you were playing York. You know, boss, a little gratitude for years of loyal and effective service wouldn't be misplaced.
I'm grateful for your years of loyal and effective service, and mindful of your many forays in the dormitories of unwitting co-eds. I need your help on this one. It shouldn't be too hard.
Not for me, anyway.
We've got 2 attempted suicides in the same week. Both female. Both members of a ceremonial magic study group at Bach-ordered books. Both practitioners. Both talked about their sinful natures and getting right with God or whatever, and then tried to end it all.
Oh, yeah, that's brainwashing.
We've also got a bunch of people who don't remember a new student at the study group, including Bach.
Oh, yeah, we're definitely brainwashing.
Are you sure? It's just 2 people.
Yeah, but if there were 2 unrelated people, I'd say coincidence. But same study group, same week, and a new student no one can remember? Long shot.
So who's the student? Some kind of creature?
Really? I can't think of anyone from the Never Never who likes to hang out around mortals and slowly guilt them into following a white god or offing themselves.
So, maybe it's a religious nut.
Now, Harry, just because 2 people tried to kill themselves after spending an hour around him doesn't mean it was unpleasant. Come on, am I right? Am I right?
Right. Maybe he was an undercover priest or something. You know, warrior for God kind of thing.
Harry, you actually know the Warriors for God, and you think they recruit by guilt? Now, Charity, on the other hand, she got named after the wrong virtue.
I know. Priests don't evangelize. But Michael is constantly inviting me to Mass.
Inviting you to Mass is a little different than running a bath and telling you to slit your wrist. Wait, did you find any black magic there?
Nope, nada. Zip. Not at the docks, not at the overpass, not at Box, and not at the hospital. Unless he was taking him somewhere else. You think he was putting some kind of whammy on him?
Whammy. Glad to see you're using technical terms there, Harry. Look, it would mean a rogue sorcerer, likely breaking the 3rd law of magic. Someone gone warlock, using the thing that made him into a warlock to convince other people that they are warlocks and making them off themselves. It's actually ingenious!
Bob!
It's insidious!
And it would probably take a while to gain that kind of control over someone with a bit of talent. And likely you have to be familiar with the victims. Rose McKinney said he was new, and she doesn't remember him. So, veiled, or glamored, or disguised, plus mind control magic. Someone as well versed in magic as Professor McKinney would have been able to recognize that, at least after the fact, if not beforehand.
I don't know what to tell you, boss. Maybe it was someone really convincing, or really threatening. Maybe this whole thing's really a coincidence after all. Wait, this isn't actually a suicide cult, is it?
No. That's exactly what Rose McKinney's afraid everyone will think now.
Can she think of anyone who would want people to think that? Might help us narrow it down.
Hell's bells, Bob. I can think of people who would want everyone to think a magical study group is a suicidal cult. Where should I start that list?
Touché. So, if it's not magic, and it's not someone they both know, maybe there's a religious nut, you might have been right.
What a novel idea. I got a list from Artemis Bach of the usual members of the study group. Apparently, Sunday afternoon's class was smaller than usual. But Buck said that one of the students that did come was talking about some guy wanting everyone to stay home for a while. And he didn't remember seeing him come to the class, and he was looking for him. Could be our guy. Plus a magical whammy?
Maybe. Still sounds like you've got a nut on your hands. Though, now that you mention Artemis Bach being particularly attentive for this guy at the study group, it sounds less likely that he just naturally met a new student that same night. Maybe it was just somebody telling folks to stay in ye old broom closet for a while to avoid unwanted attention, which means it had to be someone whose practitioners might be in danger. Or your study group's a suicide cult.
The more I talk to people, the more I think this whole thing is as mundane as it gets. I can't pull SI on this one. I got no grounds for it. It's been a long, cold winter. People get depressed in the cold. Maybe it's nothing. And the only leads I have left are the names on this list, and half of them are craft names.
Oh, let me guess. There's a Moonshadow Pixie Dust? Oh, I know. Ravenclaw Hufflepuff. Oh, Dark Warlock Rage Pain!
Bob! They're not ridiculous! Okay, there is one Slytherin.
How can you take practitioners seriously when they name themselves after fictional wizards?
I understand the premise. Some of them work at jobs or have family members that don't approve. And being anonymous goes a long way. And some of them understand the power of telling someone your true name and are being overly cautious. There's nothing wrong with that.
There's something wrong with using the name Amethyst Blossom Solstice Moon.
Ours is not to judge.
Yours is not to judge. Harry Blackstone Copperfield Dresden.
Stop that. Anyway, I thought I'd try some of the names on this list that look like maybe I'd find them in the phone book. With a professor from U of C and a student at U of C in the group, at least I've got a demographic pool to start with.
Happy fluffy bunny hunting. Where was I? Milky white, milky hair.
All sorts of trivial, mindless tasks interrupt the wizard when he's wizarding, like paying the bills, cleaning the apartment, or taking the dog for a really long walk so my super secret fairy brownie squad can clean while I'm out.
Hi. Yeah, this is Harry Dresden. Hey, I need the usual. Can you add 2 large pizzas?
I got a pretty solid 6 hours of sleep. Some of it was even before the sun came up. Got an icy cold and very quick shower. And my rent check up to Mrs. Spunklecreef. Let Mr. back in without the sewer rat he had killed. And that leaves just this one last errand.
Oh, he's not? Well, whoever delivers him, just trust me. Tell him to leave the pizzas on the curb by the alley.
After this, I go back to the thrilling and productive task of walking around the city, knocking on doors, and finding potential witnesses to confuse and aggravate.
No, I should have a credit. I paid cash last time. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, so we're good? Alright. Thanks.
Hi, boss. Are you just ordering pizzas and asking to leave them on the... You know what? I don't need to know. I have this for you.
What's this?
Everything that Wendy's boyfriend's friend Jim knew.
This is it?
Well, he was in a headlock on the mats at the time. Might have had his oxygen cut off. He didn't even remember Wendy's last name.
College.
You didn't need a full Nelson to forget a girl's name.
Sorry, it's all I can do, Harry.
It's okay. I haven't got much yet either. Going out now to try and fix that.
Can I come?
No. Sit. Stay. Good apprentice.
So far, I've tracked down 4 of the 7 names that seemed like real ones. I got one young woman on the phone, and one young man by finding his house. 2 others didn't answer their phones or their doors. The young man said he'd talked to a man who recommended they stay away from the study group for a while, and the girl said she'd talked to the study group member who'd talked to the man. They both stayed home. The description of the student that Rose gave me was pretty sketchy, but it had me wondering if this is our guy. The kid said the man seemed genuinely concerned for his well-being, though, and didn't come to the class or mention anything about religion or damnation. The Paul Revere was described as having long, dark hair and was wearing an army jacket and a necklace under a white t-shirt. I'd asked him if the necklace had a cross on it, but he said he couldn't tell because it was under his shirt. Seems unlikely that our Paul Revere is our religious nut, but I'm not done with the students yet. So now I'm tracking down study group member number 5.
Hello? Mr. Everett?
Huh. Not a bad ward for someone not on the White Council. This one's powered by locals, though. It's like it's supposed to be here. Like all the powers native to this part of the world are running it on instinct. It's got a very listens to wind feel about it, but nowhere near his finesse and power. It's taken a beating, though. I'm not sure how much of my power I could bring through it.
Hello? Mr. Everett? Mr. Everett? Hello?
Ventus Servitus!
Robert? Robert Everett? Wake up! Robert!
Murphy, it's me. I turned into something. I need EMT.
Murphy? I need EMTs and police at 1047... No. 1047 Stone Avenue. What? Hurry! Mr. Everett? Mr. Everett. Robert. Robert, wake up. Mr. Everett? I'm with the police. Robert, it's okay. No. Don't try to get up. You'll just pass out or vomit or both.
Where is she?
Where's who?
Emily.
Robert? Robert, who's Emily?
My daughter.
I'll find her. Where would she be?
Upstairs.
Emily? Emily! Emily?
family.
But I'm going to find her. Robert, what's this?
Oh my God.
Robert, focus. I need you to tell me what this is.
It's her totem bear. My dad was Lakota. He said it was her guardian spirit. It's
Robert, I can help find her with this, but I need to track
her. Yes. I can help.
No, you can't. Not like this.
Yes.
Robert, you need your energy to keep you alive and conscious.
My daughter.
And I will find her.
I invite you.
Thank you. In here! Gas leak. He was unconscious when I found him, but I shut it off.
Thanks, we've got him.
Sir? Sir? Sir, can you tell me your name?
Robert Everett.
Robert. How many fingers am I holding up, Robert?
Every little bit helps. Tracking spells are relatively simple. Psychic consultants for the police use children's clothing all the time to try to locate missing children. The trick is to use clothing before it's made it to the laundry. Teddy bears are better. Rarely washed, often hugged. And the teddy bear of a child with practitioner parents who have dubbed this her totem best. Skin cells, oils, hair, all recently transferred from Emily to her bear. All I have to do is make the two parts of the whole meet. Intersario.
Hey! Where the fuck do you think you're going?
Talk to Murphy. I'm busy.
Like hell I'm gonna let some wacko split the scene.
Wacko? Haven't you been briefed? Hell's bells, I recognize you, Donovan. Don't you remember me?
Yeah, you're the psychic. Bullshit. How come you're always around when weird stuff happens? I'm not just gonna let you walk off when shit goes down.
Man, you weren't even here when this shit went down. I don't have time for you. There's a kid missing.
There's what?
I'm at the house. Thanks. Donovan, inside. Get a description from the father of his daughter. Dresden, go. 7924 dispatch. I'm 23. Over. Now!
Murphy's one of less than a handful of cops in Chicago to be really clued in to the spooky side of the street. The rest of the people I do consulting work for think I'm a charlatan at best, and insane at worst. I don't need them to believe me. I just need them to let me work so I can find the good guys and stop the bad guys. That's interesting. Wait a minute. Fuego infusarius lumen.
Go, Grandpa Lakota.
Everyone with a little magical talent has something we call the sight, or second sight, or the third eye, or countless other things. It's an ability to see things that aren't exactly visible to plain vanilla mortals. If Emily has inherited any of her parents' and grandparents' ability, this should be visible to her. Never underestimate the power of the teddy bear.
Emily? Emily!
Yep. Your wife is on her way, Mr. Everett. We called for a team to sweep the woods. We set up the Amber Alert. She's been gone less than an hour. That's a good thing.
She must have run. Why would he take her? Why would he take her?
You've given us the best description we've got yet of the perp, Mr. Everett.
Can you think of any way they could have gotten your address, Mr. Everett? Contact list from study group or something?
No list we didn't want.
Understandable.
Can you sign this for me, please?
Yep.
Detective, a moment, please.
Chances are you were followed. We've set up a unit for surveillance on your street.
What about your wizard? The consultant. He should be back by now.
These things can take some time.
Emily! Oh, you're safe. You're safe. It's all right. You're right. It's all right.
Well, this is not the cleverest plan I've ever had, but I haven't got a plan B, and I feel a little like Murphy now. Jesus, it's frustrating just wandering around practically blind, with no real idea where the bad guy went, and nothing to go on but a description and a used coffee cup. Murphy dusted it for prints, but got almost nothing. As it turns out, coffee cup handles aren't the most ideal surface for getting a good, clear, complete print. And our perp isn't the lipstick-wearing type, nor is he a particularly drooly drinker. So I've got almost squat to go on too, besides a half-hearted, he might be that way impression from a tracking spell that was vague at best and non-existent at worst. There are times when the magical result is so weak that it's hard to discern magic from gut feeling. So Murph and I split up. Stallings is on his way to the scene, and by now there are probably half a dozen cops around the perimeter of LaGrange Park. Even so, it'll take a miracle to stumble over the location of the perp.
Oh! Jesus Christ! You're mortal? Get off me, man! Oh.
Oh, sorry!
Fuck it, one dead wizard coming up!
Nexus!
Oh!
Oh! No, no, no.
Police, drop it or I drop you.
Fuck you! You try shooting me, bitch, and I kill Wizard Boy.
You got any idea the paperwork involved in me killing you? It'd ruin my whole night. Put it down, slow.
Chicago PD, drop it.
And as simple as that, my part here is done. This just became a hostage negotiation. If I intervene here, they'll take my consultant badge away. For good. Also as simple as that, I realize we're not going to get to question him. He's got That look. And I know that look. I have the power to stop him, but I've been taught the rules.
Paul, there are people you can't ever save.
I could stop him.
The laws of magic are there for a reason.
I could make him want to stop.
Thou shalt not invade the mind of another.
I could bring him back.
Thou shalt not reach beyond the borders of life.
There are some people you just can't save. There are some people no one can save. It wasn't your fault.
I know.
Just thought.
Shut up, Harry.
Thanks for the ride home, Karen.
I'm off in 2 more hours.
Buy you beer at Max?
You owe me dinner, too.
Fair. See you at midnight?
Yeah.
If you ID the guy, call.
Well. And if you find out how he was whammying his Vicks, call.
I promise. His name was Cody Sorensen, age 32. Unemployed. No current address. A drifter who stayed for a month or 3 at a church shelter, which is as close as we can get to a motive for trying to guilt a bunch of practitioners into changing their Wiccan ways. He didn't kidnap Emily Everett. She had been in the backyard while Sorensen was convincing her dad to leave the gas on. Sorensen exited out the back door. Emily got scared and bolted. She says Sorensen chased her into the woods, but she lost him.
Hell's bells! Damn it, Lashiel! Should have known I was in my cold shower too long for a March night.
I would not let you remain in the cold water long enough to harm yourself, my host.
That's not the freaking point.
Did that belong to the vampire with whom you share a mother?
Ignore the poof. Get to the point. What do you want, given that my immortal soul's eternal servitude is off the table?
Well, given that, I've merely made observations, my host. And I believe in the course of your investigation, there are things you overlooked.
Which you had to tell me about in the shower.
It's very difficult to find a moment alone with you, my host. I seem to be only one of many blondes crowding your life as of late.
Ah, so that explains the sudden brunette syndrome.
I wish to stand out from the crowd.
Oh, Lashiel. You know you're the only cursed coin, fallen angel, deadly hell-tart for me. So, what are these...
observation.
You touched your adversary, my host. There was no power there such as your own, and no indication that he was other than mortal.
Right.
If a non-magical mortal were using a magically imbued item, would you be able to tell simply by touching him?
And I already thought of that. But there's no way I could identify the item or track it without having a piece of it, or at least having been there when it was used so I'd know what to look for.
Or whom to look for, my host?
I told you I touched him. Nothing. No magic. There's no way he could have done it without an item.
And from where would an ordinary, non-magical mortal acquire such a powerful artifact?
Sorensen's a pawn. Someone sent him into the field.
Assuming that he's a cat's paw, we can also assume that his master is the one with the vast power, perhaps over the minds and wills of mortals. To combat such a foe, one would need allies with similar skills. Take up the coin, my host. Imagine what we could accomplish.
What we could accomplish together. I'm giving you a choice. Join me, hero! Yeah, Spidey didn't cave at the together we can rule the world line either. Coin stays buried, you stay gone.
I shall do as you will, my host. However, you must acknowledge that in the past my assistance has been vital. Quite literally so.
Yeah, the first one's always free. Buzz off, I got this.
As you wish.
What are you still doing here?
You told me to stay!
It's the middle of the night.
It's 10:30.
Where were you a half hour ago when I got in?
I was downstairs in the lab and I was working on the bead levitating trick and I got really good. I got 3 in a row. And then I started labeling spell components, which, by the way, there's some stuff down there that should not be kept next to each other. And then I was tidying up because I'm missing my nose ring again. And I'm wondering if you have anything to do with it. So did you get him?
That's one way of putting it.
He must have had some pretty powerful magic if he was able to convince 3 people to try to commit suicide in less than a week.
If he did, it was a focus or a relic. And he didn't have it on him when we caught up to him. It was no magic that I could detect at all. But it must have been something pretty powerful to push 3 stable people over the edge.
Did you look at them, the site, to see if they maybe had any injuries consistent
See
with
if
the
they had any psychic injuries consistent with what you left when you psychically manipulated people.
Yeah, like that.
Nothing that I could detect. But there are things out there that can be more subtle. It's just that they aren't human things. And Sorensen was definitely human.
Maybe he was just really charismatic.
Kinda hard to tell when he was banging a gun into my head.
Are the police grilling him for information?
Would have. He kind of banged the gun into his own head before we could stop him. Probably the only person getting information from him now is Butters. So, this one's closed. No more religious whack job pestering the magical type folks in Chicago.
Murphy's Catholic.
Huh?
So it was my family, Father Fort Hill, most of the Knights of the Cross.
Yeah, I know. What's that got to do with anything?
Just pointing out that the world is not full of people who shall not suffer a wizard to live. In fact, most of us think you're kind of great.
Thanks, Grasshopper.
Good night, boss.
Safe home.
I got the bus.
Mouse.
It's easy to forget when you're up against monsters from the Never Never that sometimes the most evil monster you can find is nothing more than a man. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Murphy can keep her job. Give me an acid-drooling orc with a +10 axe and a breath weapon any day. I'd rather take on a whole cave full of vampires than go up against the type of monster people can be. Luckily, I've got people like the grasshopper to remind me they're more often heroes than monsters. Hopefully, there's a little girl who still remembers that too. Maybe I should get Molly a teddy bear.